Welcome to our 716 Giving for Good, a special featuring the stories and the voices of some of the nonprofits that are having a huge impact here in Western New York. Wanting more resources for her own son, Emily Monshine opened the branch of Gigi's Playhouse here 5 years ago. It's a Down Syndrome Achievement Center, and it offers free resources for families and individuals, and a lot of times, it's just a place to have fun.
My name is Emily Monshine, and I'm the Executive Director of Gigi's Playhouse. Privately, I'm Emily Monshine still, but I'm also a mother and a wife. I have 2 children. Samuel and Paul are their names. Every day is the exact same thing. The alarm goes off, I hit snooze about 10 times, and then I head downstairs where I have my coffee, and then the kids start their day. I focus mostly on Paulie. I make sure he's fed, that he's dressed, that his hair looks good, get his shoes on. It is exhausting. You know, just the shoes and the SMOs and the little chip clip that you put inside. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, when you're in a hurry, it's hard. Paul is somebody who thrives on a routine. So, you know, I always say we live and die by the routine, because every day Paulie has me do this dance to this piano that he has, and there have been times where the bus has literally been waiting by the road, and if the bus driver saw us inside dancing, we would probably get killed. But we have to do that before he heads out the door. So it's just every morning is the same. But if the routines change, then we do have issues at times. I don't like to, again, feel sorry for us or this situation, because I think we are so lucky. My biggest fear was having him, and now my biggest fear is losing him. I could say that 100%, but I also do get how it probably looks from the outside and sometimes from the inside too. You know, I get that it seems like a lot, because it is. Well, every day is a different day. It's always something different going on, so I usually check my phone and see where I need to be. And it could range anywhere from going to the Playhouse and hosting a tour with somebody else from the community, maybe another not-for-profit leader, maybe a funder, a lot of Zoom meetings. I don't have to be at the Playhouse. I mean, really my job is to be out in the community, meeting with different executive directors, meeting with different funders. But I make it a point to spend time with our participants at the Playhouse, because that is what sort of gives me the energy I need to keep going with this work. I consider them to be my dear friends. I would do anything for them. I hope they know that. I think they do. I truly love them. So I go to the Playhouse to ground myself, to remember what the purpose of all this is, and sort of to fill myself back up. That's what gives me the strength to then hit the ground running. The fundraising is by far the most challenging part of Gigi's Playhouse, and these people who I consider family, that I have deep friendships with, I think of them when I go and ask for money, or when I ask for something from somebody. It's awkward asking for money. It's awkward doing that whole thing. It's really not who I am. But when I think about these people, it really makes it possible. And it reminds me, obviously I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for this beautiful community of people that I am so blessed to be able to spend time with. I certainly don't do it by myself. I have my husband, his name is Will, and he just is a strong partner. He's so supportive. This whole Gigi's Playhouse has kind of always been my dream, my vision, and he has set aside so much to support this work and support me. We really try to have that family time as much as possible. I love the routines. I love spending time with Paul. I love doing all that stuff with him.
It's time to go to bed.
There are nights where I'm just so tired, but I'm so proud of this existence. I'm so proud of this life. I know that it's different, and I know there are challenges that would make someone on the outside be afraid of it. But from the inside, it's just, I'm so grateful that I was chosen, or that I was given this opportunity to provide these opportunities for others, you know? And initially I did it for Paul, but now like he is very much secondary in what I'm doing. He sort of brought me to, I think, what my life's work is meant to be, my calling. And I wouldn't have found it if I hadn't been gifted him. So I guess that part I can't reiterate enough. But I think having that personal piece, I feel like if somebody is facing something unpleasant because their child has Down syndrome and they're not getting access to something, to a service, or they're being discriminated against. I take it super personal. I think of my son, I see him in their faces, you know, there's a certain similarity that's really sweet and endearing about all of them. Like they're like social detectives, you know? They have this emotional intelligence that's off the charts. I wish they would IQ test them on that, you know? And like, I'll go to bat for them, and I will fight hard. Not because they ask me to, but because like I just feel it in my heart. And let's be honest, there's a lot of social injustice, there's a lot of discrimination around Down syndrome. There still is. We have people using the R word again. We have hits to Medicaid, and I don't know if we want to go there, but we have things happening right now at this space and time that aren't super positive for the disability population. So, you know, I'm there to fight it all. But, you know, it takes a lot of effort. It takes grant writing, it takes begging for money. It's a constant machine because our services are free. I don't know one place like this where it's free. You just walk in the door. We have these amazing resources and supplies, and it's like high quality delivered services. And speech these days is like $70 to $100 for a half hour, and we deliver it for free for an hour. And it means the world to a lot of families. We don't have a huge budget, you know. Just somebody dump $500,000 on us, and like we will just go to town. Like we will just build more and do more, and there's so much more we can do. But the reality of it is that we need the funds. It's not just going to happen on its own. I feel this like great responsibility, you know, like I will die before that ship sinks. I'll work without pay. I'll open up my house. Like that place is never going down because I see how it's helped people. There are people there who really, really, really need it, and I will just, it won't fail.
To volunteer, donate, or learn more about Gigi's Playhouse, just scan that QR code you see on your screen right now. 166,000 people. That's how many people in our area every year turn to FeedMore Western New York for help around food insecurity, and the need is sadly growing.
We're here in FeedMore Western New York's warehouse. It hosts our food bank distribution center where we're able to take in donations of food, and we distribute it out to our 4-county service area, our partner food pantry, soup kitchens, shelters, group homes, and other hunger relief partners who rely on our services.
I enjoy working here because we are helping thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the work that we do. Right now we're in the volunteer space of our warehouse. So this is where volunteers will come to our warehouse. They can be doing several different things. Today, what the volunteers were working on is packing boxes that go to elementary schools for our backpack program. So the backpack program makes sure that students who receive a free lunch have food that they can take home with them on the weekend. So every Friday, one of the bags that's in these boxes is dropped inside one of those elementary kids' backpack, and they take it home for the weekend. It's really meaningful, rewarding work. We move between 1.2 and 1.3 million pounds in and out of this facility every month. There are food pantries, soup kitchens, group homes, all kinds of places like that that are on the front line of providing nutritional assistance to people who are in this community who are in need. And the food bank, part of what FeedMore does, is helping those partner agencies have all the food that they need on their shelves. Our partner agencies order from us. These are pallets of food that has been picked and are ready to be distributed to one of those partner agencies that placed an order on our website. We talk a lot about non-perishable items, but it isn't the only thing. So our partner agencies can order perishable foods as well. We have several coolers and freezers here. Partner agencies aren't just distributing non-perishables. They also have fresh produce, fruits, vegetables, all kinds of things, dairy, proteins. This is the other part of our warehouse where we have a lot of the food comes to us through the USDA or relationships that we're able to purchase from local farmers with funds from New York State. So that's the rest of the food that's up here, making sure that the community has access to healthy local foods. And the largest part of our warehouse, if you really want to see a lot of food, is in here. The need in our community is growing. There are more people that we're serving today than there were last year, than there was the year before. So the trend is in the wrong direction in terms of the number of people who need our assistance, but the community support is also increasing. One of the things I love about Western New York is that we stand up for our neighbors. Nobody is interested in seeing a neighbor go hungry. So they're stepping up, they're bringing donations, they're volunteering. They recognize when that call goes out that there is a crisis in this community or some kind of disaster and there needs to be immediate response. They step up. All of this is donated product as well from the community. So you can see all the way back bins of product that has been donated through community donations. When it arrives here, our volunteers are sorting it and putting it in bins so that all the fruits and vegetables are together. They're making sure that it's safe to go out to members of the community. There's still nutritional value in it. And then other volunteers will come in, we'll pull these off of the racks, and they will pack it up in boxes so that it can be ordered and sent to those partner agencies. Some things that people don't think about that we do take are personal hygiene products, pet food, because those are items that some of our partner agencies want to make sure are available to people in their communities. We also have a farm market truck because we are growing our own produce. We put it on a farm market truck, 3 of them actually around our service area, and it's sold at wholesale cost to the community. So anybody in this community can purchase fresh, healthy produce from one of our farm market stops for really affordable prices. The other thing that we have out of this facility is the Warehousing and Logistics Workforce Development Program. It's called RISE, and so the classroom is here so that students in the RISE program for warehousing and logistics have time in our warehouse working on the forklift. This is the classroom space. It is a free program. It's 10 weeks if you're in the warehousing and logistics program. That way you have time to use the forklifts in our warehouse, learn all of that. There's soft skills that go with it, resume writing, financial literacy, a bunch of things. And so when you graduate after 10 weeks, you have a forklift certification, plenty of other things, and it gives you a leg up on landing a job for warehousing industry. There's always going to be a need for donated product, donated funds to help us purchase more product, get it out into the network. But our capital campaign is really about the infrastructure and creating a facility for the next generation, for the future of Western New York, because in this building, we do not have enough space to meet the need of Western New York. You can kind of start seeing and hear a lot of the space constraints that we were talking about, how pallets and racks are on the ground, ends of aisles. It is very full, and a reason why we need the larger facility. We have plenty of food that's available, but nowhere to put it. So we are building a unified facility in Hamburg. It's 197,000 square feet. It is the right size for a community of our size, and making sure that it is fully funded is paramount to the success of the organization. So the community support behind that project is super important. So I want to make sure people know that that's another opportunity, another way to donate, that you can donate to help put food on tables today, but a donation to our capital campaign will also make sure that the infrastructure exists to continue serving this community at the size that our community is, at the size of the need in this community. And those investments are really critical as well.
The work FeedMore does is critical to our community. There are so many ways you can help. To learn more, scan the QR code. Welcome back to R716 Giving for Good. We invite you to listen to the story of Western New York veteran Chris Krieger and the work he does for other veterans through the organization he created, Western New York Heroes.
You started Western New York Heroes in '07. We know the mission, but why did you start it?
I served 10 years in the Army, come back home after, and I spent more time in and out of the hospital dealing with the epilepsy and the traumatic brain injury and all the other illnesses that came about needing surgeries because I had tumors growing out of my spinal cord and couldn't walk, and finally being sent to a polytrauma brain center in Richmond, Virginia for a while, where it was a huge help. You know, we were able to control a lot. But during that time of hospitalization, not being able to work, couldn't afford our mortgage, couldn't afford the utilities or put food on the table. And And banks didn't care, you know, they wanted their monthly payment. Utility companies wanted their monthly payment. So we were constantly getting shut-off notices, and finally we lost everything. And I think we ended up losing everything we call the American dream within a year and a half of being home from overseas. My kids had to go through, who were very young at the time, 3 and 4 years old. It bothered me more watching how that affected them than it did myself or my wife at the time. And I promised them that one day I'd put them in a house that they can call their own again. And it took some time, but we did it. And especially when I was in Richmond, Virginia, talking to other veterans who were down there and finding out that it wasn't just me. It was they too had lost their homes or ended up homeless and lost everything. And I knew that at that point there was something I wanted to do, just not on a national level. Dealing with my own injuries and illnesses, losing everything, watching what my kids had to go through. I didn't want that to happen to anyone else out there who had served or currently is serving. There were no services when I came home. I remember turning to the American Red Cross and asking for help. And the individual that I had talked to literally told me I was the government's problem. So I got no help. I went to the VFW, I went to the American Legion, got no help. There was nothing out there for Iraq, Afghanistan veterans at the time. I knew I wanted to come back to Western New York and do something. And even if it meant helping one person a day and prevent homelessness to whatever level we can prevent that at, then we did something right.
How many current members, families have you helped?
I wouldn't be lying if I said hundreds of thousands.
How has Western New York Heroes impacted your life?
Oh, they took me out of a shell. My grant lost its funding, so I was without a job. And you know, when you get a little older, it's hard to make friends. And now I have sisters. I have these young women who, they push me, they keep me young. You know, we have camaraderie. And that's what you see in the military, is that you do not see the same camaraderie among civilians. You see it in police, you see it in firefighters, you see it in first responders. You see it in the military, but it's hard to explain unless you experience it.
Brotherhood, sisterhood,
Yeah,
family.
yeah, they've got my back. They like I said, they gave me a reason to retire, because I went to work because I had to get out and do things. And now I'm doing things with Western New York Heroes, and I've made great friends. And I don't know, I don't think I would be as healthy as I am today.
When you get depressed, you get into this black hole that you're not even sure how to crawl out of. And you have days where you're okay, and you have days where you actually think you might be driving yourself crazy and you might break at any second.
I'm not ashamed to say that I've been in counseling ever since I came back from Vietnam, but it helps. And what helps even more, and I tell the counselors, is we're with veterans, we're helping veterans, we're with veterans that love veterans. I tell my psychiatrist, I say I'm best with other veterans and helping veterans as much as I can. What Western New York Heroes does for veterans, you can't compare to anything else I've ever seen.
And I introduced myself, and I kind of took Chris to the side, and I said, look, this is my situation. I do suffer from PTSD. I do suffer from terrible depression. First, trying to tell him my situation, I start to get upset. And he goes, hold on one sec, let me go get Lynn. And he brings Lynn, and I told him, and I said, would you help me get a service dog? I'm to the point in my life where I don't leave my house. I'm introverted. I'm constantly crying. I'm always depressed. I used to be this fun-loving, outgoing person. I had a lot of friends. I was always out doing something, happy, laughing. I had lost everything about me. The very next day he called me and he goes, your story was so heartfelt that we will sponsor you to get a dog. And I feel like she's given me a reset, definitely a reset in life. And having a service dog isn't the end all be all. You still have to have that willingness to help yourself, especially in my type of situation. Grief is a hard thing. It's a really hard thing.
I don't know if it was something on TV where Chris was or something in the paper, and we ended up coming out and talking to Chris and wanted to volunteer. And I've been with him ever since. My wife and I are on the gala committee. Tom and I have volunteered for years with the food distribution for veterans that they've had.
It's great therapy, like Jim says too, and I've met a lot of good people with that.
Chris and Lynn work morning, noon, and night for veterans. He helped me get Lucy trained to be a service dog, and it's just amazing what they've done with Western New York Heroes.
We're so fortunate to live in the city of good neighbors. To find out more about how to help any of these organizations, just visit WKBW.com. I'm Katie Morse. Thanks for watching R716, Giving for Good.